Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're looking at the 2026 U.S. House elections, and I want to talk about the state of Pennsylvania and four House races that are going to play a very important role in potentially choosing whether the Democrats can flip control of the U.S. House or Republicans can hold on to their very narrow majority that they currently have. So right now the House map for 2026, or the current House map going into 2026, Republicans hold 218, Democrats hold 212, with five Congress people that are either vacant or registered as an independent right now. Really, once you do all the Republicans and Democrats at the end of the last election cycle, Republicans held 220 seats, Democrats held 215. Now, this is why this is important. Right now on 270towin.com, they have a consensus map ranking. It's compiling the Kalshi Mark or the Sabado Crystal Ball, Cook Political Report, and Inside Elections respective House maps for how they currently have the top races in the country. They have the Democrats favored in 216 House races, Republicans favored in 202. Now, in the House of Representatives, which is, I believe, 435 House members, you need a majority of roughly 218 House seats to have a majority. Just quick math there, 218 plus 218 would be 436. So 435, like 270 to win, you need 218 to have majority. So based on the current House map, Democrats are only down 2 House seats to flip the Senate control. And that's why Pennsylvania is so important, because there are 3 seats that are listed as toss-up in Pennsylvania that I'm about to show you on this map, including one that I think is also going to play a very important role. So let's go to the 2024 results. First, I'm going to show you the map of Pennsylvania itself, and then I'm going to show you more about the districts and the vote in those districts. So there were 3 House elections in 2024 in Pennsylvania that were very, very close for that Republicans won. It was Pennsylvania 10 with Scott Perry, Pennsylvania 7 with Ryan McKenzie, and Pennsylvania 8 with Rob Bresnahan. There was also another district that voted pretty solid for the Republicans, but one that I do think is worth a little bit more attention for 2026, and that is Pennsylvania 1. Now, these all combined along with other House races across the country, and Republicans holding a very narrow House majority of 220 to 215. So let's go and look at some of these districts up close and why I think it's so important. First, we're going to start with the 1st district. The 1st district voted for the Republican Brian Fitzpatrick, who was the incumbent, by roughly 13 points. You may be wondering, okay, well, why do I think this one could be competitive this time around? And the main reason being is we don't know what 2026 is going to be, obviously, until the election takes place. But given the track record of the special elections and the 2025 elections in Virginia and New Jersey, it's looking like 2026 will probably be a year that is considered to be a strong Democratic midterm wave year or a strong wave year, meaning that the opposition party, the Democrats that are not in control of the White House or of Congress, are seeking to benefit a lot from their president and the Republicans' currently low approval ratings. Just to give you an idea of this as well, the current generic ballot, this is for which party the people of America consider they'd rather vote for the House. Democrats are at 46.2, Republicans are at 42. This is now a 4.2% lead, which is actually one of the more larger margin leads over the last few months or so, in the last few weeks especially. They're now leading about 4.2%. To give you an idea, they won in nationwide in 2020. Republicans got 50.6, Democrats got 47.8, roughly about a 2.8% national lead for the Republicans. So from 2.8 for the Republicans to about 4 for the Democrats, about 4.2, you would have to shift it, what's that, about, I don't want to say it because it's a meme, but about 6 or 7, why not, 6, 7 points or so shift to that direction. So what would that mean? Well, for representatives like these in Pennsylvania that barely won their races, it would be a very important shift. So let's say we can shift the Pennsylvania map. We'll go by 5 points, then we'll go 1 more to 6, and we'll even throw 1 more into 7. What would that mean if that happened, if it was a 7-point shift from 2024? Well, this district that voted Republican would then be Democrat plus 5.4. Pennsylvania 7 would be Democrat plus 6. Pennsylvania 10 would be Democrat plus 5 or 5.7. In the Pennsylvania 1 district, which is a very solid Republican win, would only be Republican plus 5.8, just based off the 2024 map. Now, what we can also do, let's give it one more point back to the Republicans just to play the conservative side. It would be Democrat plus 4.4, Democrat plus 5, and Democrat plus 4.7, Republican plus 6.8. So just based off the 2024 voter metrics, it would be a very significant shift. In the 1st district, the main thing that I think is important to watch for is that Kamala Harris did actually win this district versus Donald Trump at the presidential level. Now, Brian Fitzpatrick is someone who, I don't know if I'd call him a moderate, but I would call him a Republican that would be more vocal to speaking against President Trump and the MAGA wing of the Republican Party than, say, some other ones in the House. And that seems to have given him a little bit of an advantage on the general election side of things, winning this district by 13 points, while Harris won it at the presidential side. In terms of this House race, we can actually look at the Cook PVI of this district is Democrat plus 1. So the Democrats do have a slight advantage, according to the Cook Political Reports Voting Index that they use, the 2025 Cook PVI, which, if you're unfamiliar, it's a measurement of the partisanship of a U.S. congressional district, and it's indicated as a lean towards the Democratic or Republican Party as from the nation as a whole, is how they do it. As for this district overall, in the 1st district, we know it'll be Fitzpatrick as a Republican candidate. The Democrat side, there are several Democrats that are running. That primary, of course, will have to sort itself out before it goes, but Bob Harvey and Lucia Simonelli are the final two. But the predictions on this one show a much more competitive race this time around. Cook Political Report has it likely Republican. Inside Elections and Sabato's Crystal Ball has it lean. Race to the White House has it as toss-up. And the two most recent polls, they are from Democratic pollsters, so you do have to account for that. Usually they're going to prop up the numbers of the Democrats and make them look better than they are, and they'll make the Republican candidate usually look worse. But in the most recent poll, 48-42, the one before that, 41-41, still a lot of undecided vote here. So this is a race I think Brian Fitzpatrick is probably favored to win, but it's one that, if it's competitive and the Democrats could flip, would play a very huge role in a potential flip for the Democrats in the House race in 2026. As for this district overall, as you can see here, right near Allentown and Trenton, Bucks County, right on the border of New Jersey with Pennsylvania, it voted for Fitzpatrick about 56-43, and he had overall a net margin of over 50,000 votes in Bucks County. Also, a sliver of Montgomery County as well, roughly about a 7,000 vote lead for Fitzpatrick in that one. So this one, I don't think this district, the 1st district, it's going to be competitive, but I don't think this is the one the Democrats have to win back the House. But if they do win it, it's going to be obviously very big for them in their path to winning it back. Now, the 7th district is where things really start to get interesting. This district voted for the Republican candidate Ryan McKenzie over the Democrat Susan Wild by 1 point, 50.5 to 49.5. So obviously this is a Republican flip and only a 1 point tilt Republican win. This is automatically one of the Democrats' top targets for 2026, given just how close it was. Now, on the presidential side, Donald Trump won it by 3.21%, and McKenzie only won it by 1. So the Democratic representative, Susan Wild, being the Democratic incumbent at the time, outperformed Kamala Harris in this district. Makes sense, as this is the one that she was representing. Now, it's important to look at this district and look at these key areas. This district does include Allentown and Lehigh County and Northampton counties, and look at the margins here. Lehigh voted for Wild over McKenzie by roughly about 9,000 votes, 98,000 to 89,000, 52.3 to 47.69. Northampton, which is a more competitive battleground suburban county, it voted for Wild over McKenzie by only roughly about 1,000 votes. So the two Democratic areas of this district overall netted Susan Wild over Ryan McKenzie roughly about 10,000 votes. When you go to these two very Republican districts here, though, Carbon County alone netted roughly about 11,000 votes for McKenzie over Wild. And then Monroe County, though it's very tiny, it's very Republican, another 2,500 votes were added to that category. So what happens? Due to Ryan McKenzie being competitive, or very competitive in Northampton and almost winning this county, and doing competitive enough in Lehigh County, it gives him an overall net 4,000 vote win. Now, this is important to mention. This happened in 2024. on a night when Donald Trump won this county by 3.21%, and even Dave McCormick defeated Bob Casey in this county, or in this district, by 1.76%. Going into 2026, it's going to be a different election environment where if it's another 6 points towards the Democratic direction nationwide, this district is automatically grounds for a potential flip. The 7th district, also according to Cook PVI, is Republican +1. So similar to the Democrat +1 of the 1st district, this is going to be a very close and important one to watch for as well. And the Democrats also know that, and they know this is going to be a very important one to watch. We know it's going to be Ryan McKenzie, one of the 4 Democrats, Bob Brooks, Ryan Crosswell, Lamont McClure, or Carol Obando Durston will be the Democratic nominees. Susan Wild, the former representative, is not running in this race. In terms of the polling for this one on the Democratic side, it's a very competitive Democratic primary that'll have to play itself out, but it's listed as toss-up from all the major political prediction websites as really expected. This race essentially is going to be ground zero to see if the Democrats win this one. It puts them well on their opportunity to potentially winning back the House. This is a crucial battleground seat. So that is the 7th district, one that's certainly going to be very close. You don't have to go too far from it. For the next one, the 8th district, which is Rob Bresnahan, the Republican. He defeated Democrat Matthew Cartwright in sort of a similar way to Ryan McKenzie. He won against the Democratic incumbent by roughly about 1.7% in this election in this district. That does include the cities of Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. So this district, which Bresnahan won overall by roughly about 6,000 votes, kind of a similar path. Scranton's going to vote Democratic, as it did here. It netted the Democrat roughly about 14,000 votes. And then Monroe County, smaller in population than Scranton, but still net the Democrat roughly another 6,000 votes or so. So 14 plus 6, you're up netting roughly about 20,000 votes for the Democrats in these 2 counties in 2024. Now, Wilkes-Barre, Luzerne County, this county has, I believe, the 2nd largest population of votes. No, it was the most votes actually in this county, in 2024. You can see here 129,000 to 115,000 compared to Lackawanna County, which is where Scranton is. And in this one, Rob Bresnahan netted roughly about 10,000 votes. So again, 20,000 across these 2 Democratic counties, and this county alone cut into that by 10. Then you look at the 2 Republican counties, not as large in populations, but the margins which they win them are huge. Roughly another 7,000 votes there. So you're at 17,000 for the Republicans. Republicans are trailing by roughly about 3,000. Then you come to Wayne County, 19,000 to 9, pick up another 10. Boom, there's your 6,000 vote lead county district wide in that race. Now, this is a district at the presidential level. Trump won it by pretty big. Trump won it by 8.46%. Dave McCormick won it by 4.56% in the Senate race. But Matthew Cartwright made it very competitive. Now, this could give the Republicans a little bit of optimism for 2026 that Trump won it by so large, and they won it facing off against a Democratic incumbent. But this district was also very, very close. Pennsylvania 8 is listed as Republican +4, so more on the lean Republican side than on the toss-up side per se, but this is still going to be a very close district. It's also worth noting the Democrats have a very strong candidate as well as Paige Cognetti, the mayor of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Obviously, Scranton, big city in this district, is running in this race, and she has this nomination locked up. The only poll thus far is from the Democratic Public Policy Polling, which is the House Majority PAC, which is the campaign arm of the House Democrats, shows Cognetti leading 45 to 43 with 13% undecided. 3 out of the 4 political prediction websites do give the Republicans a slight edge in this district of tilt, lean, or tilt Republican. Cook Politico has it as a toss-up, but this is certainly going to be a very close district, one that Republicans may be slightly favored in to start out right now, given how well Trump performed in 2024 there. But again, if it's a 6-point shift just across the board here, well, from this result, it would be enough to shift it to the Democrats by a pretty large margin. If it's similar to Trump's numbers from 2024, it would be just enough for the Republicans to hold on. But you're really getting into the nitty gritty with the margins here to see if the Republicans can hold on there. So the 8th district in Pennsylvania is very, very big to watch for as well. Finally, we have the 10th district, which this is Republican Scott Perry. This district is very fascinating because Scott Perry has gone from winning this district by a lot to really only winning it by a little. Now, let me show you what I mean here. This district in 2024 voted for Perry by 1.3%. In 2022, he won this district by 7.7%. And then in 2020, when the map was drawn a little bit differently, he won it by 6.6%. Before that, 2.6% in 2018, and the map was drawn completely different before that. So this has become a very close district, and one that is one of the main battlegrounds in Pennsylvania. Now, in 2024, President Trump won this district by 5.3%. The Democrat Janelle Stelson, who was running against Scott Perry, won it, or did about 4.4 or 4.04% shift in the direction towards the Democrats compared to how Trump did. In the Senate race, Dave McCormick won it by 4.4%. So Stelson outperformed by 3.14% on that one. But Scott Perry only was able to beat her in this district by 1.3%. Now, this district encompasses the capital city of Harrisburg and the city of York as well. So let's go again county by county in this district and see how it shakes out. Overall, Scott Perry won by roughly about 5,000 votes in this district. You look at the Democratic area of Dauphin County, and you see the margins here, 54 to 45, and you see roughly about a 14,000 or so net vote, a little bit less than that net vote win for the Democrat there. The toss-up county, Cumberland County, it voted for Perry over Stelson by roughly netting close to about 5,000 votes for Perry there. So going from 14 to 5, you're down roughly about 9,000 votes there in the Democrats' favor. Then you go to York County, more Republican, nets the Republican roughly about 13,000 votes. So then you take the 14 minus the 6 or so, or the 5 or so, you're down to 9 plus 13. That ends up with your near 5,000 or so vote win in this race. So Scott Perry showed that he won a very narrow race here. Now, this district, though, for the Cook PVI, for the 10th district, is listed at Republican plus 3. But Scott Perry's problem is he only won it by 1.4% in 2024. And we actually know what this matchup is going to be in 2026 as Janelle Stelson is running again. And with the primary essentially locked up, with her being the candidate, we can anticipate a very competitive general election, where there have been 2 polls out by public policy polling thus far, both of which have Janelle Stelson leading. So yes, even though they are obviously Democratic, like House campaign sponsored polls, and also one of them was sponsored by the poll Republicans against Perry, the Democrats still leading at this point by 3 points, and 4 points is at very least something you have to take account for, especially considering 3 out of the prediction websites have it as a toss-up. Inside Election still has it as tilt for the Republicans. So the 10th district with Scott Perry, it was very close in 2024, and Perry, if he has any popularity issues, or if the Democrats have a big enough wave election here, this should be one of the first potential districts that flips to the Democrats on election night. That could be a big indicator of Democrats doing well or Republicans holding on to the House. So for Pennsylvania, 216 for the Democrats, 202 for the Republicans. Pennsylvania plays a very important role here because these 4 districts, if all 4 of them go to the Democrats, if the 8th district, the 7th district, well, even we could just say these 2, if 8 and 7 flip with nothing else changing, the Democrats get to 218. If Pennsylvania 10 and Pennsylvania 1 follow, this gets the Democrats to 220. The Democrats have the majority, and they have it by roughly about 3 seats. The overall majority the Republicans currently have in the House right now. And this isn't even looking at the other roughly 14 House seats around the country that are still divided. Now, if the Republicans can hold on to the 1st district but still lose the other 3 very narrow ones, Democrats are at 219, Republicans are at 202. The Democrats still hold the House majority now by 2 seats, 218 to 218 or 219, to 202. Now, if the Republicans can pull off the 2024 map again and win all these districts and keep it the way it was for 2024, well, this gives the Republicans a fighting chance. It's still an uphill battle, as the Democrats would be at 216, Republicans are at 205. There's still roughly 14 House seats around the country that the Republicans and Democrats would be fighting over. Democrats only need to get to 218. Republicans need to get to 218. Democrats need 2 seats to get there. So just do the math here. The Republicans have to win 13. They can only afford to lose 1 House seat to get the majority based on how this current map is constructed, assuming the consensus rankings are correct. It also doesn't help that Virginia's new map flips several Republican seats, 4 of them, into the Democratic category as of right now. So these House districts in Pennsylvania play a very important role for the Democrats and Republicans, as the 8th District, 7th District, 10th District, and 1st District may very well decide whether the Democrats flip the House or if the Republicans are able to hold their majority, because these 3 toss-up seats in this lean Republican district may very well decide if the Democrats take the majority back or if the Republicans can end up holding it. That'll do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, make sure to hit like and leave a comment below telling me what you thought. Let me know if there's any other House seats in any other states you would like me to take a look at or take a more in-depth look at. Please leave all that down below. For now, thank you so much for watching. Again, please remember to hit like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in a future video.